My name is Caleb,
I'm Brian.
and we're brothers and also composers here in Vancouver, BC.
One of the perks of being able to work with my brother is we have been dialing that quality gauge for a long time together. So we kind of both are trying to aim for a certain bar that we might not have to discuss as much because we've had the same kind of references for a while. So I appreciate that about working. But it's also, anyways.
Oh, okay. You leave the hard part to me, when we go to the flip side. No, I think the rewards are greatest. I think when you can enjoy the successes with family, there's nothing greater than being able to do that. And definitely, there's no greater partner for me that kind of understands me and the world that I live in than my own blood. So that's forever the best part. The worst part, if we had to pick one, is definitely there are things that are part of our work that have nothing to do with our work. And there's a very emotional aspect of being in a partnership. There's a very mental aspect of being a partnership that exists outside of music. And sometimes when we're doing the music thing, we have to understand what those things are because the interplay of those two things, sometimes the lines are blurry. So not knowing if we're talking about, this part of the show that's not really working creatively, or the time when Brian punched me when we were 12 years old. Which one are we talking about? We don't know until we kind of unpack the emotions slowly, and then we'll figure it out. But both those things we eventually have to do anyway. So appreciate that we can kind of do them both at once.
Yeah.
A creative standpoint, I guess, with animation. There's a lot more of the orchestral language that kind of comes forth, and we love doing that. And mechanically, I think there are some intricacies. We're playing the picture differently, where there's a lot more attention to the frames of detail. Like if you're a couple frames off in animation, you're a ways off.
And there's a quicker switches of emotion. So you can go from extreme sadness to extreme happiness pretty quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, and especially in family and children's work, we're really overplaying it with music. The job of music is really to emphasize and to kind of enhance the picture and to kind of bring it over the top. Whereas in live action, some of the times more mature things to do would be to be more subtle and play what's not in the picture and kind of tell a story differently sonically. Whereas like I said, in animation, you really just take what's there and you blow it up to the nth degree as far as you can take it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always I remember when I first started, so I learned a lot of this stuff from Caleb. When I first started, I would write a cue and then Caleb's like, can you just make that 30% more? I was like, why? It's just because it's animation, It's cartoon, so let's just dial it up.
I started writing for animation before I had kids, and it honestly does feel different now that we've had kids that can appreciate the shows. There's a different audience that's very immediate in our lives that can appreciate it firsthand. And it's one of the things that when we're working on animation, they're welcome in the studio anytime. We have them sign NDAs when they were born, so they're all good. But they're welcome to kind of check it out. And if they actually enjoy it, then there's actually a step for us to know that we're heading down the right path. And I think with watching kids' reactions to certain things and what they actually respond to, that's important to inform us that are outside of their immediate world, how to kind of actually play with pictures. So it's been really rewarding that way.
Yeah, completely. I think I have a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old, and so when we write for shows targeted for that age, you can really feel it, and you can sense their excitement, and you can also sense when they're maybe too scared or something, So they're a very good gauge for our work. I would say work-life balance has been very tricky and probably the most challenging part of what I aspire to work together with my family to overcome. And I think that it's true maybe for many artists. So, something to chew on always for us.